How to make her regret ignoring you, an emotional introduction. You've been there before. You meet someone, and there's a spark. Conversations flow effortlessly, her laughter feels like music, and for a moment, you're certain there's something real. You invest your time and energy, thinking this could lead somewhere meaningful. But then, out of nowhere, things change. Her replies become shorter, her interest fades, and eventually, silence. She starts ignoring you, leaving you in a whirlwind of confusion and frustration. It's a brutal feeling, isn't it? That sinking pit in your stomach. The countless hours replaying every interaction in your mind, searching for the moment things went wrong. You wonder if you were too much, or maybe not enough. The uncertainty eats at you. And yet, there's another part of you, stronger, deeper, and quieter, that knows you don't deserve this. You don't deserve to be left hanging, as if your time and attention mean nothing. Here's the truth no one tells you, her ignoring you isn't just a reflection of you. It's a reflection of her assumptions. Maybe she thinks you'll always be there, waiting patiently for her to change her mind. Maybe she believes she has the power to walk away, knowing you'll still chase her. Or maybe she's testing the waters, seeing how far she can push you before you push back. But you don't have to play by her rules. This isn't about revenge or games, it's about reclaiming your power, reminding her of your worth, and making her realize the cost of ignoring someone like you. Because whether she's consciously aware of it or not, she's made a gamble. And you have the chance to turn the tables, to show her what she lost the moment she decided to look past you. What follows isn't a quick fix or a shallow set of tactics. This is about fundamentally shifting how she sees you, how she values you, and ultimately, how she regrets ever taking you for granted. These 8 strategies are designed to challenge her assumptions, dismantle her ego, and rebuild the dynamic so that the balance of power shifts entirely in your favor. 1. Shift the power dynamic. Be unpredictable. When someone starts ignoring you, it's because they think they've figured you out. She believes she knows your patterns, your habits, and how you'll react. The first step to breaking this cycle is becoming completely unpredictable. Humans are creatures of habit, and when someone disrupts the expected, it forces them to pay attention. Imagine this: she's used to you being the first to text, the one always reaching out, checking in, or making plans. What happens when that stops? When you suddenly become unavailable, distant, and harder to read? It creates a vacuum in her mind, an empty space where she used to find your predictability. And in that vacuum, curiosity grows. Why isn't he acting the same? Did something change? Is he losing interest? You have to understand that this unpredictability isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about stepping back and letting her feel the absence of your attention. It's about showing her that she doesn't have you on a leash, ready to respond at her convenience. When she realizes she's no longer in control of the dynamic, it forces her to reassess. Start by changing how you communicate. If you used to reply instantly to her texts, take your time. If you were always the one initiating conversations, stop. Focus on your life, your hobbies, your goals, and your social circle. And when she does reach out, keep your tone neutral but confident. Show her that while you respect her, you're not waiting around for her approval. This shift will catch her off guard. She may not show it immediately, but internally, she'll begin to notice. She'll start to wonder if you're slipping away, if someone else has caught your attention, or if you've simply decided she's no longer worth your energy. This isn't about being cold or rude, it's about creating space for her to feel the impact of her choices. When she feels that space, she'll begin to miss the attention she once took for granted. And in that moment, the power dynamic starts to shift. Suddenly, she's the one questioning herself, wondering if she made the right choice by ignoring you. 2. Give her a taste of her own medicine. Being ignored is one of the most frustrating experiences because it leaves you powerless. But what if you could take that same feeling and gently turn it back on her? Not out of spite, but to show her what it feels like to be on the receiving end of indifference. People often don't realize the value of what they have until it's gone, or at least out of reach. When she starts to feel the absence of your attention, it forces her to confront the void you leave behind. Maybe she's grown used to you always being there, always chasing, always making the effort. By pulling back, you're not just mirroring her behavior, you're showing her what it feels like to lose the connection she once had with you. This isn't about being passive-aggressive or playing childish games. It's about balance. If she stops replying to your messages, don't bombard her with follow-ups. Instead, wait. Let her reach out first. If she cancels plans, don't immediately reschedule. Let her feel the natural consequences of her actions. When she finally does engage, resist the urge to dive back in with full enthusiasm. Keep your responses measured and composed. Show her that while you're open to communication, you're no longer bending over backward to maintain the connection. This subtle shift sends a powerful message: I'm not here to be taken for granted. Over time, she'll start to notice the difference. She'll miss the consistent effort you used to put in, and she'll begin to question why she doesn't have the same pull on you anymore. This creates a sense of longing, a desire to re-establish the dynamic where your attention was hers to command. But this time, the balance of power will be in your hands. 3. Lead, don't follow. One of the biggest mistakes men make when faced with indifference is trying to win her back by playing her game. They overcompensate, become overly agreeable, and essentially hand her the power on a silver platter. But here's the reality: respect and attraction are born from leadership, not submission. To make her regret ignoring you, you have to become the kind of man she can't help but notice, and that starts by leading, not following. Think about it. When a man is indecisive, constantly asking for validation, or waiting for someone else to make the first move, it sends a clear signal: I'm not confident enough to stand on my own. And confidence is the foundation of attraction. A woman may enjoy the attention of a man who constantly seeks her approval, but she will never truly respect or desire him. So, what does it mean to lead? It means taking control of your actions, your decisions, and your direction. It means knowing what you want, moving toward it, and inviting others to join you, not waiting for their permission. When she sees you standing tall, focused on your own path, it forces her to reevaluate her perception of you. She'll start to see you as someone who isn't dependent on her approval, someone who commands respect through his actions. In your interactions with her, this might look like being decisive and intentional. If you want to make plans, don't ask, "What do you want to do?" Instead, confidently state, "I'm going to this new spot on Saturday, it's great for something she enjoys. You're welcome to join if you're free." Notice the difference? You're not begging for her attention or bending to her whims. You're inviting her into your world, on your terms. And that's powerful. But leading isn't just about what you say to her, it's about how you live your life. A man who leads is someone who has goals and priorities that extend far beyond any single relationship. He's the kind of man who invests in himself, who constantly strives for growth, and who radiates self-assuredness in everything he does. When you embody this mindset, it doesn't just make her notice you, it makes her realize what she stands to lose by ignoring you. And here's the beauty of leading: it's not about forcing her to follow. It's about showing her that you're moving forward, with or without her. That confidence, that sense of purpose, is magnetic. She'll begin to see you as the kind of man she wants to be around, not because you're chasing her, but because you're too valuable to ignore. 4. Use emotional contrast. One of the most effective ways to make her regret ignoring you is by creating emotional contrast. Humans are emotional beings, and we're wired to remember experiences that take us on a journey of highs and lows. If your interactions with her are flat and predictable, they won't leave a lasting impression. But if you can evoke a range of emotions, curiosity, joy, surprise, even a little frustration, you'll stay on her mind in a way she can't shake. Here's the key: emotional contrast isn't about playing games or manipulating her feelings. It's about creating genuine, dynamic interactions that keep her engaged. Think about the movies or stories that stick with you. They're rarely one note. They have moments of tension, release, excitement, and reflection. Your connection with her should feel the same way. Start by being warm and engaging in one interaction, then slightly distant in the next. For example, if you've just had a great conversation, let her bask in the afterglow for a bit without immediately following up. Give her space to process the connection and wonder about you. Similarly, if she's used to you being overly attentive, pull back and let her notice the shift. This doesn't mean being cold or rude, it means showing her that your attention isn't guaranteed. Another powerful way to create emotional contrast is through moments of vulnerability. Share something personal or meaningful, but do so sparingly and authentically. For example, if she asks about your goals or experiences, open up about a challenge you've overcome or a dream you're pursuing. Let her see a side of you that's deeper and more complex. But once you've shared, don't linger on it. Shift the conversation to something lighter, leaving her intrigued and wanting more. This push and pull dynamic is incredibly effective because it keeps her emotionally invested. When she doesn't know what to expect, she'll naturally pay more attention. She'll start looking forward to your interactions, wondering what you'll say or do next. And as that curiosity grows, so does her regret for ever ignoring you. 5. Set boundaries and stand firm. When someone ignores you, it's easy to fall into the trap of overcompensating. You might think that by trying harder, texting more, apologizing for things that weren't your fault, or going out of your way to please her, you can win back her attention. But the truth is, this approach only reinforces her behavior. It tells her that she can treat you however she wants, and you'll still be there, waiting. The antidote to this is setting boundaries. Boundaries aren't about being harsh or unkind, they're about showing her, and yourself, that you respect your time, your energy, and your worth. When you establish clear limits on how you expect to be treated, it sends a powerful message: I value myself, and I won't accept less than I deserve. For example, if she cancels plans last minute, don't immediately offer to reschedule. Instead, say something like, "No worries. Let me know when you're free, and we'll see if it works." Notice how this puts the responsibility back on her? You're not chasing or accommodating, you're calmly asserting that your time is valuable. Similarly, if she's being dismissive or distant in conversations, don't try to fill the silence. Let her come to you when she's ready to engage. Setting boundaries also means knowing when to walk away. If her behavior becomes consistently disrespectful or hurtful, don't be afraid to step back and reevaluate the relationship. This isn't about punishing her, it's about protecting your peace. And paradoxically, it's often when you pull away that she'll realize what she's losing. When you set and maintain boundaries, it doesn't just make her respect you, it makes her see you in a whole new light. She'll begin to understand that you're not like the others, that you're someone who knows his worth and isn't afraid to stand by it. And in that realization, her ego starts to crumble. 6. Master the art of silence. There's a reason silence is called powerful, it speaks volumes without saying a word. When someone ignores you, your first instinct might be to fill the void, to send one more message, to try harder to bridge the gap. But here's the hard truth: the more noise you make, the more you reinforce her decision to ignore you. Silence, on the other hand, creates mystery. It shifts the narrative, forcing her to confront the space you've left behind. Think about this: when you're constantly present, constantly available, it's easy for someone to take you for granted. But when you step back and allow silence to do the talking, it forces her to notice what's missing. She'll start to wonder why you're no longer reaching out, why your attention has shifted, and whether you've moved on. And in that wondering, a seed of doubt begins to grow. This isn't about playing games or giving her the cold shoulder. It's about understanding that sometimes, the best response is no response at all. If she ignores your texts, don't send follow-ups. If she cancels plans, don't immediately suggest alternatives. Instead, give her the time and space to feel the impact of her actions. Let her sit with the silence, let her miss you, and let her question what's changed. Silence is also a powerful tool in face-to-face interactions. If she's being dismissive or distant, don't force the conversation. Instead, maintain calm and confident eye contact, let the pause linger, and wait for her to engage. This kind of composed silence shows her that you're not desperate for her attention, that you're secure enough in yourself to let things unfold naturally. But silence isn't just about absence, it's also about presence. When you do choose to speak, make your words count. Be thoughtful, intentional, and clear. Show her that your silence isn't indifference, it's self-assurance. And when she finally breaks the silence, don't rush to fill the gap. Take your time, respond with calm confidence, and let her feel the weight of every word. This balance of silence and presence is incredibly effective. It creates a sense of mystery, it demands respect, and it makes her realize what she's missing. Over time, the silence will become deafening, and she'll find herself drawn back to you, not because you chased her, but because you showed her that you're a man who values himself enough to walk away. 7. Show her you have options. Jealousy is a powerful motivator. While it's not about making her feel insecure or inferior, showing her that you're in demand can be a game changer. When she sees that others value you, whether it's your friends, your colleagues, or even potential romantic interests, it forces her to reevaluate her own feelings. She starts to wonder, why is everyone else drawn to him? What am I missing? This isn't about rubbing other women in her face or playing petty games. It's about subtly highlighting your social value. People are naturally drawn to those who are admired and appreciated by others. When she sees you thriving in your social circle, surrounded by people who respect and enjoy your company, it challenges her assumptions about you. Start by investing in your friendships. Spend time with people who uplift and inspire you, and make sure she knows about it. This could be as simple as mentioning an exciting group outing or casually referencing a conversation with someone who values your perspective. If you're active on social media, share moments that showcase your vibrant, fulfilling life, but do so authentically. Nothing kills intrigue faster than forced or overly curated posts. If you're open to dating others, this can also be a powerful way to shift the dynamic. You don't need to flaunt new connections, but letting her see that you're not putting your life on hold for her can be incredibly effective. It sends a clear message, I have options, and I'm not waiting around for someone who doesn't value me. The key here is subtlety. You're not trying to make her jealous in a way that feels intentional or spiteful. Instead, you're letting her see that you're a man who is in demand, a man who has people in his life who appreciate him, and a man who is perfectly capable of moving on. This realization can be a wake-up call. It forces her to confront the possibility that someone else might see in you what she's been ignoring. And that thought? It's often enough to make her regret ever taking you for granted. 8. Reignite curiosity with the unexpected. When someone ignores you, it's often because they feel like they've figured you out. They've placed you in a box, labeled and filed away, and decided there's nothing more to discover. To break free from this perception, you need to reignite her curiosity. You need to show her that there's more to you than she ever realized. Curiosity is a powerful emotion. It drives us to ask questions, to seek answers, to pursue what feels just out of reach. And when you can tap into this emotion, you become irresistible. The key is to do something unexpected, something that challenges her assumptions and forces her to see you in a new light. This could be as simple as changing your routine. If you've always been the type to stick to predictable habits, break the mold. Try something new, whether it's a hobby, a style change, or an adventure that pushes you out of your comfort zone. Let her see that you're constantly evolving, constantly growing, and constantly surprising those around you. Another way to reignite curiosity is by sharing glimpses of your inner world. If you've always been guarded or reserved, open up about a passion or dream that's deeply personal to you. But don't give her the full story, leave her wanting more. For example, mention a project you're working on or an upcoming trip, but keep the details vague. Let her ask the questions. Let her lean in. And finally, embrace the element of mystery. Don't feel the need to explain every move or decision. Let her wonder why you're acting differently, why you're suddenly harder to pin down, and what's changed in your life. This sense of unpredictability keeps her on her toes and makes every interaction feel fresh and exciting. When you reignite her curiosity, you're doing more than just catching her attention, you're creating a sense of intrigue that lingers long after the conversation ends. She'll start to think about you more, to wonder what's next, and to question why she ever thought she had you figured out. And in that space of curiosity, regret begins to grow. Conclusion: reclaiming your power. Each of these strategies is about one thing: reclaiming your power. When someone ignores you, it's easy to feel small, insignificant, and invisible. But you're none of those things. You're a man of value, a man with purpose, and a man who deserves respect. By shifting the dynamic, focusing on yourself, and approaching the situation with confidence and composure, you're not just making her regret ignoring you, you're showing her what she's been missing all along. Remember, this isn't about manipulation or revenge. It's about creating a dynamic where respect, curiosity, and attraction naturally flourish. And as you implement these strategies, you'll find that the power isn't in her hands, it's in yours. The final word: the power of walking away. In the end, everything comes down to one simple truth: the greatest power you hold in any relationship, in any dynamic, is the ability to walk away. Not in anger, not in bitterness, but in strength. Because the moment you realize your worth and refuse to settle for anything less, you reclaim control, not just over the situation, but over your life. Think about it: the man who respects himself, who knows his value, and who isn't afraid to let go is the man who commands respect. He's the man who makes others regret taking him for granted because they come to understand what they've lost. And that's exactly who you're becoming. You've taken the time to reflect, to grow, and to shift the dynamic. You've shown her, through your actions, not just your words, that you're not someone to be ignored or overlooked. You've reminded her, and yourself, that your attention is a privilege, not a given. And whether she chooses to come back or not, you've already won. Because this journey isn't just about her, it's about you. You've learned how to value yourself, how to lead, how to create curiosity, and how to maintain your boundaries. You've embraced the power of silence, the strength of unpredictability, and the beauty of showing your worth through your actions. You've proven to yourself that you don't need anyone to define your value. You define it, and the right people will recognize it. So, where do you go from here? That's up to you. Maybe she'll come back, realizing what she's lost. Maybe she won't, and you'll discover someone who sees your worth from the start. Either way, you've taken control of your narrative. You've become the kind of man who doesn't chase attention but commands it. And that's something no one can ignore. Remember this: your worth isn't determined by who chooses you, it's determined by how you choose yourself. Walk forward with confidence, knowing that the person who truly values you will never take you for granted. You are stronger, wiser, and more in control than ever before. And whether it's her or someone else, the right woman will see that and never make the mistake of ignoring you again. This is your story now. Write it boldly.